What's up, millennials? So one of ARK Invest's big ideas for 2021 is drone delivery. And AgEagle is one of these American companies that focuses on exactly that, delivering packages via drones, right? So today we're going to take a look at a few things. First of all, we're going to take a look at an executive order that was signed by Trump right before he left the office. Then we're also going to take a look at MicaSense, which is a drone sensor company that is going to be acquired by AgEagle. And lastly, we're going to take a look at some technical analysis. So let's first take a look at these executive orders from the United States. This was actually signed by Donald Trump right before he left office. This was signed on the 18th of January, and this puts restrictions on the use of drones from adversary countries. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So, to protect the United States from certain unmanned aircraft systems. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit. They are saying that the reliance on UAS, so these unmanned aerial systems, and components manufactured by our adversaries. Right now we're going to take a look at who these adversaries are exactly. So this reliance threatens our national and economic security. So why are these drones a threat? Well, they actually say that these drones can have access and then can collect and can also maintain data that could be obtained and that could also contain some sensitive information, right? Well, yeah, if you can imagine a drone with a camera that is flying above military grounds or like the White House, for example, then yes, I can imagine that it could potentially be a threat. By the way, if you haven't seen this just yet, I noticed it a few days ago and I actually saw the episodes from this, Spycraft. It's pretty interesting series to look at, and there are also people talking about using drones for spying activities, if you will. So yeah, definitely an interesting watch if you have some time left over. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit, because what are these adversary countries exactly? Well, I'm supposing it's mainly focused on China, right? But they also mention Korea, they mention Iran, and they mention Russia as well. I think China here is the main adversary country because the major drone company DJI is one of the biggest drone manufacturers in the world, of course. And the United States could see this company and other drone companies from these countries could see those companies as a threat as well, right? So I do think that this is actually good for US drone makers from the United States, right? Then the second piece of news is about a company called MicaSense. This is a drone sensor company that is going to be acquired by AgEagle. And I've actually talked about AgEagle's cash position in previous videos about AgEagle because I was noticing that they had a kind of like a big number of cash on their balance sheet and they weren't really doing anything with it just yet. They also raised some money in the beginning of January as well, so I was thinking that it very likely was going to be an acquisition. I was personally actually hoping for a Valkyrie to be acquired, but yeah, unfortunately that did not happen. I'm not even sure what the valuation of Valkyrie is, by the way, but they acquired this company MicaSense for $23 million. MicaSense was actually a company that was owned by Parrot, which is a European drone company. According to this article, it's actually the leading drone group in Europe as well. And what MicaSense does is they focus on aerial mapping and analytics for the agricultural market. So that is very, that fits within the business model of AgEagle as well, right? But they also say that these sensors, these MicaSense sensors, can actually be used as well for autonomous flight safety for package delivery, okay? So we're actually going to take a quick look at the quote from CEO of AgEagle, which is Michael Drozd. He says that this is going to help with the onboarding. Well, the onboarding of MicaSense's powerful imaging technologies onto a drone designed for package delivery. Well, they think that it's going to enable to produce a turnkey solution that processes in-flight data in real time. He goes on and says that it's going to allow for drones to effectively assess emergency landing situations, or landing zones rather. So yeah, you can imagine that if a drone for some reason gets into trouble, then it needs to figure out where to land safely, right? So these MicaSense sensors can actually be used for that. Then Droz goes on and he says that these sensors can also be used to confirm and substantiate successful deliveries and to determine proximity warnings. So yeah, again, you can imagine if a drone is in the air and some kind of bird flies over, or some kind of tree and stands in the way, then these MicaSense sensors can also give like a proximity warning, and the drone can decide what to do in that situation, right? But yeah, these are just examples of how these sensors are going to be used very likely. It's going to be interesting to see, especially this year, I suppose, what kind of tasks, what kind of applications these MicaSense sensors are going to have in these drones from AgEagle. So if we take a look at what kind of deal they had, let's zoom in a little bit. So as we can see, it's $23 million in total. They are going to pay $15 million in cash, more or less, and they're also going to give about $3 million worth of AgEagle shares to Parrot, so the Europe's drone company, right? Then that is only 18 million, of course, so then they are going to need to pay an additional $5 million, which is going to be spread between the start of 2022 and the start of 2023, in accordance with the guarantees given for the sale. So I was looking at MicaSense's website, actually, and I found a few interesting things. Because, I think about 90% of what MicaSense does is focus on agriculture, and they aren't really focusing yet on package delivery. So I suppose that AgEagle is going to change MicaSense's path a little bit. Of course, AgEagle is also an agricultural drone company, but I do think that AgEagle is going to want to focus a little bit more on package delivery as well. I did find this interesting thing. I think that Atlas Flight, which is an application from MicaSense, can be used for package delivery as well. I'm not entirely sure, but I do think so, because what you can do is you can plan your flights. So let's say, for example, that you have these smart mailboxes from Valkyrie, for example. You could put a trajectory, a path, a flight plan within the MicaSense sensor, and then you can let the drone fly from one smart mailbox from Valkyrie to another smart mailbox from Valkyrie, right? And then also use these sensors for safety, of course. Make sure you don't hit any birds, you don't hit any trees, you don't hit any people, of course, because that would be quite horrible as well. One very interesting thing, actually, was this guy, Gabriel Torres. Why is this interesting? Well, we scroll down a little bit, and let me zoom in a little bit here as well. We can see that this guy was actually co-founder and CEO of MicaSense from 2014 until 2018. So he worked there for 4 years. And guess what he does now? Well, he now actually works as a senior technical program manager at Amazon Prime Air. So there have been lots of rumors about AgEagle potentially partnering with Amazon. I've already talked about this a little bit in my previous videos as well. I said that, well, AgEagle and Amazon are located both in Wichita, Kansas. They are located very closely to each other. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be a partnership between these two companies, but this could be a potential, an additional indicator that they could actually be talking together, they could be working together. And one additional side note here is that Amazon is going to report earnings tomorrow. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they are going to announce anything with regards to Amazon Prime Air, if they are going to announce any like partnerships that they have. Of course, it will be amazing if AgEagle actually turns out to be a partner of Amazon, but I still have my doubts. I think it's like 25% likelihood that it's actually going to happen. Just not entirely bullish about that just yet, but it could be an option, of course. And then let me very briefly talk about a little bit of technical analysis, because AgEagle UAVS is actually on the move today. It's up already 22% for the day. It might actually be following another big company that I'm looking into, EHang, which was also up about 20% today. But let's go back to UAVS now, AgEagle. This was actually my biggest position by quite a bit. AgEagle was about like 2.5x my second position. So I had to take, I took some profits, didn't have to take them, of course, but I decided to take some profits a while ago. I told my Discord members that as well in the private Discord group. And I actually sold a portion at $14.08 and another portion at $13.57. And just a few days ago, I bought a little bit back around $11 more or less when the news about MicaSense broke out, right? So why did I do that? Why did I take profits over here at $14.08 and $13.57? Mainly two things. I'm not going to talk about all the things, but I'm going to talk about two things very quickly. First of all, the 8 exponential moving average. We're on the hourly chart right now, so each candlestick, each bar, vertical bar here is 1 hour of price action. I was actually looking at this and I noticed that these candlesticks started trading below this yellow line, which is the 8 exponential moving average, because from this point onwards, the 13th of January, the yellow line had been used as support all the way up until this point, up until the 21st of January, right? So when I saw that it started to trade below that yellow line, I actually took some profits over there as well. And I also was looking at the RSI. Let's zoom in a little bit here. So on the 21st of January, we had this massive high RSI. Usually everything above 80 more or less is usually in the overbought territory. And then it's likely that it's actually going to have a little sell-off, just like we saw right now. So it got a little bit red over here. It went all the way to like 87 more or less, an RSI of 87. And afterwards, on the 21st of January, we saw also the RSI crossing the exponential moving average on the RSI. So the blue line, the RSI crossing the white line, the exponential moving average over here. Whereas right here, the EMA had been used as support. We saw the RSI bouncing off the white line here on here as well. And then it started to cross and trade below that exponential moving average. And now it just went back up again. So those were my two reasons, the exponential moving average and also the RSI. And the fact that I took some profits doesn't mean that I'm bearish on AgEagle, of course. Actually, exactly the opposite. Because so far, I like the executive order, of course, that they now have to work with American companies and not so much anymore with Chinese drone companies. I so far also like the acquisition of MicaSense. Still need to look a little bit more into this, and I wonder as well what the drone sensors are going to be used for exactly. But so far, I'm still very bullish on AgEagle. So I hope this video brought you some kind of value. If you would like to join our Discord group and talk a little bit more about drone stocks, other stocks, cryptocurrencies, whatever you like, then please go to nesami.com/discord, leave your name, leave your email address, and you're going to get access to our free Discord group. And with that being said, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.